Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the most forgotten and rarest kid shows. Now today on this video is episode 2 and I am so excited to show you the most forgotten and rarest TV show. Back in the noughties, this show was such a big hit on ITV, and especially on a Saturday morning, they were such a big hit. Thousands of people loved them. So let's find out what we're seeing today. It's the Boohbahs, everybody! How can we possibly forget that show? Oh my god. Absolutely one of my most favourite shows ever. This is obviously like the UK's most favourite one. My sister and I, we watched it all the time. We all had our favourites and stuff like that. Now for those of you that have never even heard of them or even seen what they are, the funny thing is that I've always wanted to do was to yell out their names and they would actually pop up. So now that I'm older and I can actually do it, let's call out the characters. First up is Humba. Now Zumba. Now Zing 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 Bar. Jamba. And last of all, Jingba. Now for my favouriteest thing to do that I've always wanted to do for a very long time. It's time for me to go boo! You probably are like wondering now, what have I just seen? Or you're probably like, oh my god, this scared me as a child. If this scared you as a child, what were you even thinking? I was scared of everything as a child, but oh my god, I loved this show. It was absolutely fantastic. And you're also wondering, like, why are there a bunch of like random heads in different colours wearing a massive like jumper looking like fluffy dress that's kind of like a jumper or something, and they're like running around getting into our mischief, and they're even like bumping into each other, which is quite funny to see. There's like more things on this show that became such a big hit. My most favourite thing was in like the middle of the show there would be a present for like the story people, which is what they called the characters. Now on the characters they would have a family. They would have a grandmama, grandpapa, Mr. Man, Mrs. Lady, brother and sister, and my most favourite little dog Fido. Oh my god, he was such a cutie. Now these characters, they would obviously act, but they would act in mime when they see an object, very simple object. My personal favourite character on that show was definitely the grandpapa. He was absolutely so funny, and especially for an old man that can have so much energy. So that was why he was like my absolute favourite, and I really wished all the time when I was younger, I wished he was my granddad, more likely. So yeah, and one of my most favourite acting moments was when he and Mr. Man was on the seesaw. So let's take a look at that. How freaking cool is that? I mean, that seesaw must have been so huge for it to be shown. Another thing I would love to point out that made me laugh so much was Grandmama, like an old lady. She looks like she was in her 80s. And there was this one episode I remember where like she plays a record player and she dances around and she's really got the energy, like, and the funny thing is that when she lifts her red dress up and dances around, again, let's have a look at that. Funny, isn't it? I mean, seriously, this is a kids show and you're lifting your dress up. Oh, put them down, woman. I don't want to see your undergarments. One thing that is so good about them is that it's not CGI. They're all like, well, in a costume. They're all like costumes, I'd say. And one thing I could never understand is like how in the world can they like run around, do their like dance routines, like repeating and repeating the same time, and they never got tired. Seriously. But then again, thinking back to when I was little, I used to have so much energy. One thing I remember so well from that was that I was running around my table, pretending to be the Boohbahs, and they would just not stop. So I remember running around my table, pretending to be them. Geez, how I never got tired. My most favourite Boobah character was definitely Zumba, who was the purple one. Now, I remember, like, this show became such a massive hit that they even had it cuddly toy dolls of the Boobahs. They even had a VHS tape. They even did lunchboxes. They even did a school bag as well of the Boobahs as well. And most of my friends, we would always like talk about them. We would always like try and do their routines. And they were just such a big hit. I mean, if this was shown like today in 2020, I think it would have got such a bad review. But thinking back to 2003, oh my god, what a hit they were. I mean, and they even had like robotics of their eyebrows like shining and their eyes just switching to like the sides, and it was just crazy. You would press their hand and their eyebrows would flash, and then they'd look right, they would look left. How cool was that back in the day? Now, if you ask me how I actually like found the Boobahs in the first place, well, this is obviously what happened. I was upstairs and my oldest sister was downstairs, and I think my mum was downstairs as well. I think if I remember rightly, I think I was in a bit of a stroppy mood, like I used to be. And my sister calls me saying, come down, you've got to come and see this. It's really funny. So I went downstairs, and that was when like we saw the scene where like the real people, but they act with mime. And that was when I first saw Mr. Man, and I don't know why, but it was really funny. And ever since then, I just couldn't stop laughing at them. They were just so funny. They weren't even scary. And whenever they did their dance routines, they would always like jump, but they would make such a loud farting noise. One of the disadvantages that I don't obviously like about the Boobahs, I mean, with like the characters in mime, and you hear a narrator saying it's this person, it's that person. Like, for example, it's Mr. Man, it's Grandpapa. But the random thing is, I'm pretty sure lots of us have already known that the narrator sounds very depressed. Because if you have like a closer listen to what he has to say when things pop up.
It's Grandpapa. He's coming. It's brother and sister. It's a dog bed.
I think, again, if this was shown back in this year, that would have been another bad review. They'd be like, oh my god, narrator's too depressed. And just think how viral that would have actually gone. That would have become so viral, and then, yeah. But the funny thing is that, geez, thinking back to that day, I mean, like, yeah, it was funny, because I mean, like, it's Mr. Man. Somebody's coming. That was actually quite creepy, thinking back to that. Somebody's coming. It's like, oh my god, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming. Who's going to come? Oh my god, it's that person. So now I believe that is the end of this video. It is so sad. But one of like the most funniest things that I forgot to mention, how like the beginning of this video, obviously the beginning of the show, how we would see a rainbow bubble, and beginning of like the scene, you would see it, a rainbow shining and rolling, and a whole bunch of kids would like point at it, and all of a sudden it would come flying through with them. They would like bounce around with it, they would jump with it, and they would like spin around with it, and as soon as like it goes, they wave goodbye to it. Now I remember in school, whenever we would see like rainbows in school, I always like pointed it out, thinking, oh my god, it's gonna come and it's gonna play with us. But sadly it never did, so that was quite a shame. That you guys enjoyed this video, and just because I love you guys so much, here is a very one of my most memorable dance routines that they did, and it is so weird but very funny. I hope you guys find it funny, but if you find it a little too scary, then I suggest don't watch it. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week for another video. Bye!